Here's something about the Grim Reaper that people don't know. The Grim Reaper is not from like Europe or any European idea. The Grim Reaper originated from the Middle East as another one of those underworld gods that was basically the Canaanite version of Thanatos. And over time, like the whole thing about the modern like concepts of the underworld god from the Canaanite culture that fractured the Canaanite culture fractured into Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And the Canaanite culture had like the various underworld gods with horns, such as Mot, which he was the red-skinned underworld god that was a horned-headed figure from the Canaanite mythology, and was quickly forgotten or just completely, indefinitely, and inevitably fractured into Hasatan, the Grim Reaper, Shaitan, and Satan. And in some cases, in some Orthodox Catholic circles, Lucifer and Baphomet, which that's not entirely accurate. But what's truly accurate is this: Mot became Satan over time. And Grimsashaha was Mot's henotheistic incarnation, and then fractured into the Grim Reaper, Hasatan, and Shaitan, and Satan himself. The very concept of the Canaanite underworld god, or the Canaanite underworld god that is actually a devil, was predicated upon with it being like historically an evolutionary change and transformation of the ultimate evil family member of the Canaanite pantheon that absolutely changed. The whole concept of the devil changed from Mot to Satan over time. And the whole life and death aspect of Mot was attributed to the Grim Reaper over time. And the whole concept of being the adversary was given to Hasatan. And the whole concept of being evil given to Satan. And the whole concept of being a mischievous, malevolent spirit was given to Shaitan. And we all know that Sheol was actually from the Canaanite culture. And was shaped and hijacked by the Jews and subsequently the Christians and the Muslims. Jahannam was given to the Muslims. Sheol was shared by the Christians and the Jews, while the whole thing of Mott being the bad guy, we all know that the concept of like a dying and rising God in the Canaanite mythology, or the mythological tradition of ancient Canaan, which is modern day Israel, we all know that Baal was a dying and rising God, and Baal defeating Mott was attributed later on as a attribution to Yahweh. The whole being so angry, that was attributed to Allah. The whole circumcision and the whole Sabbath day and the whole like honoring your parents and other aspects of that tradition was given to Jehovah, and the whole eternal God and the Most High God attribution was attributed to, and also the rain, thunder, and fertility was later on given to Yahweh as a domain. And the whole thing about the whole dying and rising God type of thing was attributed to Chemosh, which Chemosh eventually solidified the downfall of Mott and the downfall of Baal, and the whole element of child sacrifice that was attributed to both Baal and Moloch was attributed to Yahweh later on, because the whole thing, or it could have been attributed to like a little bit of that was attributed to both Yahweh and then later on Satan, because Moloch wanted child sacrifices, but yet Baal was mistaken for that of the god of rain and fertility, which Moloch was a god of child sacrifices and sterility. Kind of like how Mott was the god of sterility as well. And when Baal defeated Mott, we all know that Chemosh defeated Baal and Mott, and yet the whole thing of Baal and Mott being defeated and destroyed by Chemosh. Because you see, Jesus was the final product of that, but I'll get into that later on. But right now, it's all about Mot becoming Satan over time. And Satan was a later invention, a later evolutionary invention of later Canaanite traditions, such as Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. But Satan, well, we all know Satan was the final product of evolutionary change, an evolutionary reinvention of what a Sheol ruling underworld god would become. And Mot became Satan over time. The whole aspect of Mot was fractured into 4 different beings: the Grim Reaper, Hasatan, Shaitan, and Satan. 4 different beings that was derived from the 5th one, Grisashaha. Grisashaha was the 5th being, and Grisashaha came from the henotheistic period and was quickly defeated by Yajahal and Yamujah. Yamujah and Yajahal defeated Grisashaha. Grisashaha was a being from the henotheistic period in the Canaanite culture. In ancient Canaan, which is modern-day Israel, Grisashaha was defeated for good, and for 500 years it was Yamujah and Yajahal. It was dualistic, all good for 500 years until the whole rise of monotheism that came later on. And with that being the case, Grisashaha was forgotten, worshipped for 200 to 300 years. For at least 300 years during the henotheistic period, Grisashaha was worshipped. Alongside Yamujah and Yajahal, worshipped alongside them. And elements of Yam and Dagon were attributed to Yamuje, which made Yamuje or Yemuje the very ocean god and walked on water and demanded a lot more sacrifices than Grisashaha. Grisashaha asked only for 10%, whereas Yemuje asked for 20% more sacrifices. And during the henotheistic period, this has been a part of Canaanite culture, because Yemuje was the very, very offshoot incarnation of Chemosh, a war god. And with that being the rise of like a ocean walking god, that later on that Yeshua, Muhammad, and Jesus Christ were the offshoots. Three offshoots. Three to four offshoots of the god Chemosh. Because the words attributed to Jesus about like not coming to bring peace but to bring a sword and to bring division amongst families, that was all Chemosh. That was later on, from 500 to 200 years. Anywhere from 500 years of Yemuje or Yemuje being the ruling god, and was later on passed down to Muhammad, Yeshua, and Jesus, who inherited that quote from their two original incarnations, Yemuje and Chemosh. And we all know the Most High kind of thing was Baal. And the whole thing of being the one to sit on the throne of the heavens, that was all El Elyon. And El Elyon was giving his throne to Baal. And Mott didn't like that. And Chemosh didn't like that either. So Chemosh didn't like both Baal and Mott, and decided to go and try to destroy both. That's why the whole Gnostics, they had the whole Nag Hammadi library and the apocryphal texts being compiled into two different books that told the truth. Where the Torah didn't tell the truth, the Quran didn't tell the truth, and the Gospels didn't tell the truth. Because in all likely truth, and the matter of fact is that Mott became Satan. And when Satan's plot for trying to take control of the heavens, the whole death of Baal was the fact that Baal rose again and defeated Mot. And this is echoed in the Torah, the Quran, and the very Gospels themselves. And let's not forget, the Ketubi was a 666 book type of holy text of the Canaanites. They were later on, fractured into the Torah, the Quran, and the Gospels. The Gospels got the 66 book, while the Torah got the 5 books, and the Quran got the 1 book. But if you put 1 with 5, that makes 6 books. But if you put the 6 books with the 66 books, that made the 666 books of the Ketubi. And the whole mark of the beast thing, that was just a reference to the Ketubi. The Ketubi was the original holy text of the Canaanites. And for thousands of years, Mot rose from being an idol from ancient Canaan to Satan. And the whole as above, so below thing, that was Mot's own philosophy. That was his philosophy, because he wanted to be like the Most High, which was Baal. He tried to eliminate Baal and tried to disguise himself as Baal. And over time, Chemosh defeated Mot in the disguise of Baal. And when Baal rose up from the ashes and became Yajahal. And when Yajahal decided to officially and permanently destroy that of Mot, Grisashah showed up 300 years later. And during that time, the whole thing about Grisashah defeating the very likes of Chemosh fractured into Yemujah. And then Yemujah defeated Grisashah. And then during that time, Yemujah and Yajahal didn't see eye to eye. And so the whole thing of the whole thing of Yemujah being defeated and then rose again into 3 different figures. And then when the whole world was worshiping Yajahal for 300 years before Jesus Christ and Muhammad and Yeshua, and then 200 years down the road, Muhammad ended up being born, Yeshua ended up being born, Jesus ended up being born, and for 200 years, these 3 were dismantling the cult of Yajahal. And Yajahal was fractured into 3 beings: Allah, Jehovah, and Yahweh. But Mot was, in fact, the original devil in that polytheistic religion. And the whole thing about the feminine attributes was from Anut and Sophia, Barbelo Abraxas, and Epinoia, and Astarte, and Asherah, the goddesses of the Canaanite pantheon. And when Yahweh got so pissy, that was out and so unruly and not willing to listen, that was the goddess Lilith. And some of the aspects of the serpent was attributed to Mot, and later on to Satan, and then later on to Jesus of the Garden of Eden, which was located in ancient Canaan, which is now modern-day Israel somewhere. But I hope y'all understand this, and I hope y'all like the video. And I hope y'all comment and subscribe for more Canaanite mythology content.